So here are the 5 biggest mistakes that I see when building a design system. Number 1, setting up variables and foundation as an afterthought. I see so many designers who just want to get into building components and building pages. So they make, for example, the Moodle, they make the button, they make the input, they make the sections, and they make everything so quickly. So, and then they build the layout, or they build the grid, or they build the variables as they move along. This is a mistake, because you will see that, number 1, there is no structure to your file. I mean, you're just building things randomly. So there's no way to reference things in your design system just yet. Number 2, scalability is a huge problem later on. I mean, you haven't set up your variables correctly, you haven't set up your layouts correctly, so there is no way to scale. Nothing is referenced to the main idea. Number 3, you have to redo everything later on. So you already built everything, now you have to reconnect them to the variables library, so you're gonna waste so much time and energy doing that. Number 4, you're gonna have conflicting variables. So for example, you made the text for the button, so you made a specific variable for it. So button text, let's say Times New Roman. Then you also used, for example, the body text in other buttons. So there is no way to account for the different mistakes that you've made. So there's going to be conflicting. There is no way to switch themes. So you already made the whole thing. Now, for example, the client or the lead designer, he says, let's make a new theme for the child or for the wealth theme. There is no way to do that. You haven't put in the effort to set up your file correctly from the very beginning. So this is the mistake. How to fix this? Number 1, invest in setting up the file correctly. I know that the client wants progress quickly. I know that there is a timeline. I know all of these things, but the more you invest in the structure, the more it pays off later on. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Number 2, use variables to control the subatomic. Use variables in order to control all of the colors, to control the primary, secondary, neutral colors. Use variables to control the typography, so that if anything changes in the whole system, you're able to quickly update everything from one click of a button. Number 3, practice using atomic design to train your procedural thinking, so systematic thinking. The more you develop systematic thinking, the better you become as a design system, because the system part is more important than the design part. The design part is important, of course, because we're making good-looking things. However, the system part is what makes an architect. It's what makes someone a very good design systems engineer. They engineer things properly, they engineer the system properly. Therefore, you're able to build anything scalable-wise and consistent-wise later on. Number 2, variant chaos. Before, there used to be, for example, with large design systems, there used to be, for example, for the button component, there used to be 1,000 different variants. Now there is no need to do so. When do I use variants in general? When do I use it? I use it with different states: hover, default, pressed, loading, focus, disabled. All of these are different states that we have to use variants for. Number 2, different colors: primary, secondary, neutral, tertiary, and so on. Number 3, for different sizes: L, G, S, and so on. And finally, different layouts. For example, you have a layout for mobile, you have a layout for this, you have a layout for tablet. So everything can be a bit different like so. So this is good when we use variants. When do I not use variants? Number 1, icon positioning. I still see people who are designing buttons with a leading button and a following button. This is old. This is not the way that we should be designing our components right now. I see them with images, positions, and so on, or Boolean. I see them with text. Sometimes they change text. I see them with light mode and dark mode. So I see one component for light mode, one component for dark mode, even though you can just use variables to switch between the colors easily. So all of these, we should not use variants with these things. We have variables and we have properties for the components just to fix these problems. So why not, instead of having 1,000, you can have 500. So it makes things so much better. What are the problems with this? Number 1, file bloat. When you are making a component set with so many variants, whenever you make a copy of it, you're making a copy of all of the variants with it. So you're making your file super heavy. Figma runs very slowly because of this. You have way too many options. I mean, I see so many of these different variants, and they have so many different button categories and toggling things and so on and so on. It's too much. Dev handoff becomes confusing because it's so many different things to look out for. And designers stop trusting the system. It's just a chaos, a chaotic system. What is the fix? Use Boolean properties. Use Boolean properties if something you want to turn it on and off, you want stuff like that. Give the user the option to turn them off instead of using variants to say this is 2, this is 3, 4, 5. No, make it on and off. Use swap properties for switching. So you want a different picture, you want a different icon, swap it. You don't need to do variants for it. Number 3, remove unnecessary sizes. I see people who make 10 different sizes, even though their system only needs 3. So why? Poor naming convention. Naming convention, of course, not lots of people pay attention to it, and I understand. What are the problems? Number 1, it breaks search. It becomes hard to understand where this thing is or where you put it because you don't know, didn't name it properly. It breaks documentation. I mean, how can you reference something if the naming convention is poor? It breaks trust and it breaks dev collaboration. I mean, you should always have an idea of what the CSS code will look like so that you're able to name it accordingly. You should have this in mind. How to fix this? So use this type of naming convention. Use what am I doing? The component. What is the color? Is it primary, neutral, or whatever? How big is it? Is it large, medium, and so on? Is it hover or whatever? Wherever you add a property to it, add it sequentially like this. It could be as long as you want. It's not a problem. Number 2, let's say you're designing a template. When you're designing a template and something inside of a template inside of something, these are nested items. And these items are specifically for this template. So if, for example, template / homepage / header / title. This is the title that is inside of the header, inside of the homepage, inside of the template. So it's like a nesting doll. Number 3, input text error. So whenever you are doing something, name it accordingly. Like where is it going to be inside of, and name it from the bottom up. Detaching templates. I see so many designers and so many design teams. I see them detach their templates even though the design system's architect, he put so much effort and time into the template, but they are not able to fulfill their design vision using the template. And let me tell you how this happens. The problem number 1, this destroys consistency. You are destroying the consistency of the file. You're not making everything interlinked with one another. You're making one-offs all the time. So therefore, there is no consistency. It destroys scalability completely. You're not able to scale things as much as you want because not everything is connected to each other. It removes updates. If you update one component or one template, it doesn't go to the whole file. So this is a mistake. How do I fix this? The whole idea is to use slots. Now, your system should be flexible and not super rigid. This is not the job of a design systems engineer architect. He should make his design system flexible, just as it is rigid, both. So that when the designer takes the design system and he wants to fulfill his design vision, he is able to fulfill his requirements using the design system that you made. He doesn't always feel like he needs to detach to fulfill his vision. So the design system should be equally as flexible as it is rigid. So you should learn how to use slots so that they are able to make a local component with the thing that they want to design and then switch it with your template or inside of the template. And you should teach your designers how to use slots, how to switch things quickly and easily so that they're able to fulfill their design needs as such. Number 5, not designing for designers. So some people think that I am designing a pretty component or I'm designing something like that. This is a part of the design systems expert to do, yes. However, their job is not just to design. Their job is to make a system. It is to make something that is easily used by others. So when you're making a button, it shouldn't just be pretty looking. No, it should be functional. It should be swappable. Things should be easily to switch and change. And it is the infrastructure that is used by the designer. It is not your job to design. It is your job to make the process. And after making the process, it is then their job to hand off to the developer. So your job is to set up a perfect system or an easy to use system for the designer and for the developer. So the problem is that some designers don't know how to make architecture, how to make the design system architecture properly. They just make it as if they're designing something that is pretty looking on a canvas, and that's it. There are lots of variable mistakes. They don't know how to use it properly. Designers feel frustrated because they take the system and they're not able to fulfill their requirements later on, and the developers feel very confused. This is the problem if you don't know how to build the proper architecture for the system. How to fix this? Practice design system architecture. See how other architectures are done. Practice using your hands. Practice often so that you understand how to build this properly. Remember who you are catering to. Your job is not to make pretty screens. The designer's job is to make pretty screens, but as the architect, your job is to help them do so. Finally, a bonus idea, which is that you are designing something that is rigid. The design system should not be rigid. Yes, there are some general criteria to cater to in terms of, for example, corner radii, in terms of typography, in terms of colors. Yes, these are the big things. But in terms of layouts, in terms of if there's a button here, if there's something here, it should be as flexible as you can so that when the designer takes your design system architecture, they're able to fulfill their design requirements using it. So it should be as flexible as it is rigid. How to fix this? Use slots, use atomic design, use Boolean properties, use component properties, make it as flexible as possible. The more flexible it is, the less your designer needs to change it, and the less designer needs to change it, the more scalable and consistent it will be throughout the whole design ecosystem.